everybody. This is Dave from D&E Performance coming to you from the office. This is our second half of entering our injector. This is the second video series in entering our fuel injection information into our Holley system, specifically the Terminator X. Again, this is not any means of tuning a vehicle. This is, or if you're looking to save a little bit of money on the dyno by actually doing, a little bit of the work as far as entering all the information into the system before you take it to the dyno. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the second half of this. Okay, everybody, so I'm going to show you how to set your rated flow per injector, your rated injector pressure. We're going to set our minimum injector opening times, and then that's going to give us our total injector flow. It's also going to give us our total system fuel flow numbers. So what we're going to start with is we'll just get out of here and not set. Let's set all this stuff back over to the defaults. Settings here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to end up using a set of Snake Eater 1500s. This is what I'm using for the SM95 build. So we're going to go over here and we're going to select on our drop-down menu. If you don't see your injectors in here on the drop-down menu, then you'll have to go into the custom, and you're going to have to input this information. But regardless, even if you do have your injector, even if your injectors are in the drop-down, you're still going to want to enter this information regardless. So this is going to be kind of a step-by-step. If your injectors are in here or if they're not in here, it's going to be pretty much the same. So we're going to go ahead and select our 1500s, and it's going to give us a rated flow per injector of 143.8, and then our minimum dead times. These are all the default settings. So what we have to do is we have to figure out our actual system pressure that we're going to be running. I talked about this in the previous videos, that we're going to be running right around 60 psi of system flow, or actual system pressure. So we're going to set that there. These Snake Eaters have been tested at a 3 bar, so we're going to leave the rated injector pressure, which is, most injectors are tested at 3 bar. So we're gonna leave this to the default at the 300 kPa. So the next one that we need to look at is the rated flow per injector. So we need to find out if this number is right, because this is a default that Holley sets in the program, and we need to figure out if this is close or if it's off, or what the case is, because we want to have this information exact. So what we need to do is, once you buy your injectors from Snake Eater, they're going to send you a email. You're going to open the email, and then they're going to send you a link to download your injector data for your particular injectors. It's going to be in Microsoft Excel. So if you don't have Microsoft Excel, you'll have to go through that process of Google searching Microsoft Windows or whatever the case may be to get Microsoft Excel on your laptop or your computer or whatever, your phone. So once you open the link, you're going to get something that kind of looks like this. Like I said, it's going to be in Excel, and it's going to have your flow graph. So this is the flow graph of your injectors. You're going to have your standalone data, your GM data, your Ford data, and your Chrysler data. Since we're working with an LS, we'll be looking at these charts right here. These are the charts that we're gonna look at for our injector dead times. So we need to find out the rated injector flow. I'm sorry, the rated flow per injector. So Holley's saying that these are 143.8 pound per hour injectors, and we're going to be running our line pressure at 60. So we need to figure out what kPa is 60 psi, if this makes any sense. We're going to look at our flow rate versus pressure on our injector data sheet. You can use any one of these, but since I'm running a set of Snake Eater 1500s, I'm just going to go with the LS3 graph here. You have an early LS7, you have an LS2, and an LS1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use this LS3 graph, and this is in gallons per second, and the flow rate is in kPa. You can see right here, if you scroll all the way to the end of the chart here, that it's in kPa. So the LS7, early LS7, has they have gallons per second all the way up to 640 kPa. And then gallons per second on the LS3 is 768 kPa. So our system pressure is going to be flowing at 60 kPa. So if we go over here, we need to go do a Google search, and we need to go over here to our kPa to PSI converter scale. So we know 300 kPa is 3 bar, which that's where our per injector flow is. Our injectors are rated at, or they're tested at, is this 3 bar. But we're not going to run 40 psi. We're going to be more closer. We need to be in this range of 58 to 60 psi. Because this is where our dead times are at for our injector dead times. So we want to run in this area. That way, our injector dead time will be fairly accurate and on point. So to make our tuning a little bit, or our idle circuit dial in our idle circuit, if I can talk, a little bit more easier. And then also this information will be already in the Holley for the tuner, so that'll save him some time and saves you some time and whatnot. So we need to figure out. So obviously we need to go up on this scale. So if we type in 350, that gives us 50 psi. Let's try 400. Oops, if I can type here. 400. 400 is 58 psi. So that's right where our dead times are. But we're gonna run our line pressure a couple of pound more, just to make up for the I always like to up my line pressure on my regulator, try to get it a little bit above what I'm setting it in the ECU, just to compensate for some of the loss coming up into the rail. So what we're going to do, since 400 is right around 60, almost 60, we need to go over here to the chart. We need to go into our plug and play, go back over to our LS3 chart, and then see where our gallons per second is, and what's on the chart. So 388, we know 388's going to be way below this 408, so we can type in 408. So we'll just add an 8 here and see where that is. So that's going to be pretty close to what we're running on the line pressure. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run this 408, which is the 408 here. So we need to know how much our injectors are flowing at this given kPa. So when we need to go in and type in another, we need to do another Google search, and we need to do our gallons per second into pounds per hour. So if we look at our chart here, you just do a Google search. It's very simple. We're going to go over here and we're going to look at our 408. So 17.845 gallon per second is what we're going to type in. So 17.845. That gives us our rated flow per injector. So our rated flow per injector is 141.62. If you look at the Holley, they have it rated for 143.8. So we're going to change this number since we know what it actually is for the line pressure that we're running. And we'll just input that here. The next thing that we need to figure out is our minimum injector opening time. So I'm not going to get into any discussions on any of these, what any of this stuff is. You can, if you want to figure that stuff out, like your injector off times, minimum, your rated flow per injector, your injector pressures, your actual system pressure. You can Google search any of these labels that are in the software, and you can find the information here. This is just intended to input the information and how we can input the information. So we need to find out our minimum injector opening time. So we need to come back over here to our sheet, and we need to go down to where it says offset versus voltage. And we need to find the chart that we just used, which we just used the LS3, so we're going to use the LS3 chart again. Here's the LS7, LS3, and we're going to go and look. So this is in kPa again, kPa versus voltage, and then versus gallons per second. You can see that it goes all the way up to the 768 kPa. It's the same thing for the early LS7 chart. So the line pressure that we're going to be running is the 408, and then we need to figure out where we're going to be running in. Most of the time where you're going to be running in as far as your voltage. So you can see right here on the top or on the side, the vertical left portion of the chart, you have 20 volts versus 4 volts and everything in between that. So you're most likely not, your system is going to be most likely running right in here between the 11 to 14 range. So we're going to split the difference here, and we're going to say that our operating system is going to be running right around 13 volts at any given point in time. Most of the time, if you do an LS swap, your charging system is going to be right around 14 volt. Right around, most of the time, if you wire everything incorrectly, it'll be anywhere from 13.5 to about 14 volts is what your alternator should be putting out. and charging your system. Your initial fire up is not really going to matter too much. The initial uh, startup time, Holley's going to take care of most of that. So we just want the voltage uh, after the car fires off, because you can do some things in the Holley to make it easier, as far as in your idle parameters, to make the car start and get fired off. You could always go back and change this data too if you find that your car is really hesitant, and it's really, really, really hard to start. Most of the time that's going to be in the idle circuit, but if for whatever reason you can't get the idle circuit to work properly, you can always just go down and bump this number down. Usually I just start off at 13, between 12 and 13 volts. This is where I like to set this at. So anyways, enough rambling on. So we're just going to shoot across the chart here on our 13, and we're going to go to our 408 our 408 kPa, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to see that our injector dead time, or as Holley puts it, our injector off time. I'm sorry, our minimum injector opening time. Excuse me, our minimum injector. I'm getting myself confused. Our minimum injector opening time is going to be 0.704. So we're going to go ahead and you can see that number right here as you come down on the chart. Just scroll across, and then that will give you the number. So 0.704 is the what we're going to enter for our minimum injector opening time. So we're going to input this information here, enter, and that's going to populate that right there. So the last and final thing that we need to address, stupid pop-ups. Last thing we need to address is our injector off time or injector dead time. And we can get this information again right here. Snake Eater makes it very easy for anybody to do this. That's why I can't stress enough. It is very important to get an injector that provides you, or buy an injector from an injector manufacturer that provides this information, because it's important that you enter this information into whatever standalone system that you're using, even on HP tuners. If you have an aftermarket set of injectors that you're using on the factory standalone or the factory system, you still need to go in and enter this information into the system. It'll make it way easier to tune the vehicle. Or if you're not tuning it, it'll make it easier for the tuner to tune the vehicle with the information already populated in there. Again, your tuner can most likely do this if you are just hesitant on doing this, but realistically, I mean, just to spend the extra couple, an hour or so going through and entering all this information into the system will definitely speed up the process when you go over and have your car tuned. Okay, so we'll stop rambling on again here. This is our injector dead times. It's in battery voltage with the PSI. So the PSI versus the battery voltage versus the offset, which is your dead time. Anyways, you can see the voltage here. It starts at 6 and goes all the way up to 22 volts. So we need to go look over here and see, and you can see the voltage. It's right here at the bottom of the chart, and Holley starts at 8 and goes all the way up to 20. So all we're going to do here is look at this chart, and we are going to start at 20. So get over here and we'll start at 20, see if we can line this up so it goes all the way across. There we go. Right there. So we're just going to click on the box, hold down, and then we're just going to go ahead and hold this all the way over until we get to the 8. Control C. That's going to highlight that. We're going to go over to the Holley. We're going to do the same thing here. And then we're going to go Control V. And that's going to give us our dead times. It's very, very, very simple. To 12 range, because that's mostly where your system's going to be operating at. I really wouldn't go into this 11 or even into this 15. I would kind of stay right there. I'd most likely try to just stay right here in between your 14 to 12. I'm sorry, your 14 to 12 voltage range for your a minimum injector opening time. Anyways, again, hopefully this information helps somebody. And another thing I want to point out too, I'm sorry I forgot to say this, but once you enter all this information, we always want to come up here and we want to save the information. Anytime you enter any type of information into the system, you either want to do a save as, so you know that save global file as, or you just want to go up and just hit save. That way, as you're building the tune out to dump into the car, you don't have to go back and you click on your tune and then you go in there and go, where's all my information at? Make sure that you always save as a new file, or just save the changes that you made. Again, this is Dave from D&E Performance, coming to you from the office, and don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Excited on a lot of the new subscribers to the channel. I really appreciate it. So if you can, hit the like button, stay. I know these videos, these software videos can be kind of lengthy, but there's so much information here. There's just really no way around it. But anyways, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, get notifications when I upload videos, and I will catch you guys on the flip.